The Trump administration has banned, reportedly, 7 words from the CDC, which is the Centers for Disease Control. What are those words? Are they naughty words, nasty words? No, they're words like science-based, evidence-based, diversity, entitlement, vulnerable, fetus, and transgender. And while there are many people at the CDC who deny it, there are a handful of people at the CDC who deny it. There are many current and former employees who are like, oh, no, that totally happened. We'll get into more details, but thoughts, 5 words or less.
1 word, yikes. Science is not fake news.
Yes, insult our intelligence.
The CDC is now no, Dean, no. Because in Spanish, C means yes, no means no. It always helps if you have to explain it afterwards.
Which you always have to, Brett, because sometimes people are like,
I love it.
Okay, I get that.
No, that was because it wasn't a good joke. So he's banned these words. The CDC has a budget of $7 billion with more than 12,000 employees working across the nation and around the globe on everything from food and water safety to heart disease and cancer, infectious disease outbreak prevention. All these things seem to involve science. Why are we not using science-based and evidence-based anymore?
There's a lot of people in the Trump administration that don't believe that science is real and don't believe things that involve science. I would guess I say I'm really desensitized to the things that happen with the Trump administration now, which is sad. Every day I'm just like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that happening. So I'm not really surprised, but it's really, really hurtful to the American people because science in general is a hard concept for a lot of people to understand, especially when it comes to climate change, where it's not something that's super obvious every single day. You know, it has been happening over hundreds and hundreds of years. So that's already hard for people to see. So for him or the administration to ban words that are helpful in explaining that to the American people is really detrimental to our society.
Do you think it comes with an element of bullying though? Because listen, these are people who are, the CDC is asking for money from the administration, yes? So the CDC does a lot of important work. You know, they do research for AIDS, a lot of really super communicable diseases. So by the Trump saying don't use these words or we're pretty much not gonna fund you is as you said, detrimental to everyone because the CDC does some very good work. And that's what I got from the article was that they're removing these words because as you said, Daron, they don't believe that those things are real, but the CDC that has important work to do needs funding from these people. So it seems like it's bullying to me if you ask me.
Now, what's worth noting is that the outrage that has come from the media outlets reporting on the banning of these words has been sort of said was mischaracterized by the director of the CDC. Heather, like I know her. I can't remember her
Brenda, because I pulled up the thing.
Brenda Fitzgerald. But she looks like a Heather, if we're being honest.
I mean, I'm not sure that Brenda and Heather are different names.
Okay.
It summons the same face.
They're synonymous,
yeah, it does.
Brett. They're so synonymous.
So she basically came out in a series of tweets, said, I understand that there would be this outrage because of the stories that you're hearing, but that has been totally mischaracterized.
Right.
And that's not what the CDC will always use science in its reporting and reporting its findings. But then when people on Twitter were saying, okay, so you are saying that these words are totally fair game, and that if someone puts together a proposal using these words, that it will give them the same credence as someone who is adhering to the new words, because they gave some
alternative
phrases and stuff, and she has been radio silent on that. So it seems like there is something going on here, and the Obama administration has changed terms as well, but they weren't terms like this. They were terms like instead of an addict, you say person with a drug disorder, something like that. But when we're talking about climate change, words are of the essence.
So this is the last, I mean, we don't have a lot of time. They're shortened segments today because we're doing a half-hour show. It's pretty fun. Instead of science-based or evidence-based, the suggested phrase is the CDC bases its recommendations on science in consideration with community standards and wishes. So getting away from the term, when you say science-based and evidence-based, rhetorically it creates everything else is not science-based, is not evidence-based. So they don't want to frame their arguments as being science-based and evidence-based, and then if they act contrary to those, they're siding with the opposite of science and the opposite of evidence. They are now rhetorically shifting to say, listen, we base our things on our scientific study and the will of the community. Now, the will of the community might at some point say, all right, we'll put up with more pollution if you could bring more jobs here because we're out of money and out of everything else. That signals a rhetorical shift, all of these. Read some Chomsky, we don't have any more time.